3 rules that you need to understand when you're buying rental real estate. Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's Jamel Gibbs, your family-oriented entrepreneur. Welcome to another video. So in this video, I want to talk about 3 rules that you really want to understand when you're investing in rental real estate. The third rule that we're going to talk about is the most commonly used rule because it's flexible. It can be used if you're wholesaling real estate. It can be used if you're fixing and flipping real estate. It can be used if you're buying and holding real estate. So there's some flexibility there. It is the most popular rule, and I'm going to go into detail on how it actually works. So keep watching until the end of this particular video. Now, for those of you who are brand new to my channel, be sure to like this video, subscribe to this channel, click the notification bell as well for more content just like this in order to be up to date on what's happening in the real estate market and what strategies you can use in order to be able to grow your real estate investing business. So the first rule I want to talk about today is the 1% rule. Now, for those of you who are not familiar with the 1% rule, what it does is allow you to measure the value of the property up against the gross amount of income the property can generate. So just to put that in layman's terms, if you purchase a property for $200,000, then you want to make sure that your gross rental amount on that property is at least $2,000, which is 1% of the value of the property. And what that will allow you to do is tell you if you have a decent deal or not. Now, in this market, you want to be flexible. You want to make some adjustments based on your local area, because in this market, there's lenders who are only lending on properties if they can generate 1.3 to 1.5% of the value of the properties. So that 1% rule still applies in certain areas, but in this market, you want to be flexible based on what's happening locally where your properties are located. So again, just to recap how to apply the 1% rule, you want to make sure that the gross monthly rental amount is at least 1% of the purchase price of the property that you're looking at. And that's going to tell you if you have a decent deal or not. Now, the second rule I want to talk about today is the 5% rule. Now, the 5% rule allows you to tell what your break-even point is on a property. And that way, if you're looking to buy versus rent, you'll be able to dictate what that threshold is so that you can move forward on the property or not. Now, basically, in order to find out what that amount is using the 5% rule, what you want to do is take the value of the property and multiply that by 5%, and then you want to divide that number by 12 in order to get your break-even point. Now, once you get that break-even point, what you need to do is you need to look at comparable rental properties in the area within the vicinity of the property. Now, if those comparable property rents are lower than your threshold, than your break-even point, then it'll be a good idea to rent the property. But if those comparable rents are higher than your threshold, then it'll be a good idea to buy the property. So the 5% rule allows you to know what your break-even point is before you make a purchase on real estate, telling you if you're going to be getting involved in a good deal or not. So use the 5% rule in order to find out what that break-even point is, and then you'll have your threshold moving forward. Now, the third rule I wanted to share with you today is the 70% rule. And if you've been around real estate investing for any amount of time, if you know anybody that wholesales, fix and flips, buy and hold, then you're probably familiar with the 70% rule. But in case you're not familiar with how this rule actually works, what it does is basically tell you how much you should pay for a property. And a general rule of thumb when it comes to negotiating any type of wholesale deal, fix and flip, buy and hold is by using the 70% rule. For example, if you have a house that's worth $200,000, what you want to do is multiply that number by 70%, and that's going to leave you at $140,000. Now, let's just say that that same property needed $40,000 in work. Then what that means is you have to subtract the $40,000 off of the $140,000, and that leaves you at a $100,000 max offer that you can make. So the 70% rule allows you to know how much you should pay for a property in advance while you're making your offer in order to get yourself into a decent deal. So again, just to simplify the formula for you, what you're doing is you're taking the after repaired value, the value of the property if it was in tip-top shape, and the way you find that is you find recent comparable sales within the vicinity of that property in order to be able to tell how much that property is actually worth. Then you take that number, you multiply it by 70%, and you subtract the repairs off of that number, and that tells you how much you can actually pay for a property. Now, if you're wholesaling, obviously you want to get your number below that 70% minus repairs in order to be able to create a spread in order for you to be able to make a wholesale fee. If you're fixing and flipping, 70% will suffice. And if you're buying and holding, 70% will suffice as well. One thing that you want to keep in mind when it comes to the 70% rule and why it works so well when you're buying and holding is when you go to rent your property and then refi cash out, chances are you're going to be pulling out 75 to 80% of the value, leaving you with a little bit of spread in your pockets of tax-free dollars. That's a whole nother conversation for another day. But if you want more information on how that actually works, it's called the Burr strategy. And you can check out the video that just popped up on his page for more information on how to use the 70% rule in your business. So how did you find this one right here?
Actually, we sent out the postcards. You told us to do that.
Direct mail.
Right.
Yep.
So this guy actually responded. He was looking to get rid of the property because he didn't have any time to work on it. So we got it from him for about 40.
Got it. 40,000, man. What do you feel like it's worth once it's fixed up?
The ARV is 153.
And you got that future value appraisal?
Yep.
How much do you feel like you're going to put into this one once
probably about 30, 35.
35. So you bought it for 40, you'll be into it for 70.
Right.
So you basically got it. You're going to be all in at half.
Half of what it's worth, right.
So this is a money maker right here.
Yep.
This is definitely a money maker. Once you refi cash out, you literally into this thing. And be able to pull out a significant amount of money from it. And what do you feel like it's going to rent for?
The rental comps anywhere from like $1,100 to $1,200.
$1,200.
Yeah.
What do you feel like your mortgage payments are going to be on this?
With 75, probably like around, I'd probably say
$800 is kind of what I was thinking.
Yeah.
So $1,500. So you make a $700 cash flow on it every month.
Yep.
You could easily get 150 times. You figure minus 30 grand off of that, you're looking at 120. You can easily pull out 50,000, 40, 50,000 on this, right? What would you tell people who's just getting started right now about real estate investing?
I would tell them that it's hard work, but it's worth it, right? As long as you put in the time and the effort and you manage it correctly, I believe that anybody can do it. I got a full-time job, as Jamel knows, and I'm out here making it happen.
That's right.
You know, so as long as you put in the work and you're consistent, I think that anybody can do it.
In the meantime, be sure to like this video, subscribe to this channel, click the notification bell, leave a comment. Let me know what you thought about this video. And if you want me to go into more details on other rules that you should be looking out for in your real estate business, leave a comment. Let me know in the comment section. I'll see you guys in the next one.